Let's make some plant-based Almond Joy candy bars. Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and we've got a special show for you today. It is officially our 10-year anniversary on the show. We've actually been plant-based for longer than 10 years, but this is the official birthday of the show. So we're super happy that we're still here and you guys are all still supporting the show. So today we're going to celebrate by making some Almond Joy candy bars. Because our last candy bar show went over so well, I made a mixture. It was kind of a mix between a Snickers and a Twix. It went over so well that we thought, let's do a little bit of a series here. So we're going to start with Almond Joy. So to start, you need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And I've got a cup of unsweetened chocolate here. This is Santa Barbara chocolates. It's unsweetened, so really it's just raw cacao that melts. You can use whatever chocolate you prefer. There are a couple different brands. There's one that you can get at Whole Foods that is sweetened with dates, and there's another one online. And I'll give those links to you in the recipe, and the recipe link will be in the details below. So what do you want to do first? I've got a baking tray here that I've put my little candy bar mold on. This is a 12 candy bar mold, and I believe they're like 1 inch by 3 inches. If you can see, they're pretty small. You could do this any way you like. You could get your cupcake tins or something like that. That would work the same if you don't want to get one of these. But we're just going to sprinkle a few chocolate chips in the bottom of each of these cells, instead of melting all of this chocolate and then pouring a little bit in the bottom of them, because we're going to need this for later and we're going to need it melted. But this is just a little bit easier way to control how much chocolate is on the bottom. And I think it's just a really simple method. So I've got probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 chocolate chips in the bottom of each. And now we're going to stick it into the oven for about 4 minutes, just till they're lightly melted. All right, now that our chocolates are out of the oven, I'm going to use a fork to kind of smear them around or move that around to coat the bottom of each little cell. It just seems to be a pretty easy way to get a consistent, even layer on the bottom of these. And then when we're done here, I'm going to stick this in the freezer while we're making our fillings so that can harden up and make a nice solid base. All right, so while our chocolate is hardening in the oven or in the freezer, we're going to make our filling. So this is 1 cup of unsweetened coconut. And most grocery stores have an unsweetened version of coconut. You just have to look a little bit closer and read those labels. Then I have 10 decadent dates. If you're using medules, only use 5. And 2 tablespoons of almond flour, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to blend this first. I have a little bit of about 1/4 cup of water right here, but we're going to wait until we get all of this dry stuff blended up and it starts to just come together, and then we'll use the water just to finish bringing that together so it gets sticky. Okay, so I blended for about 1 minute. You want to just blend it until those dates are really pulverized in there and there are no big chunks left. So now what we're going to do, we're going to turn it back on and we're just going to drizzle a little bit of water at a time, maybe about 1 tablespoon at a time, until that starts sticking together. You don't want it to be super, soppy, so you might not have to use all of your water. All right, there we go. If you can see here with the consistency, if you pick it up and you stick it together with your fingers, it stays together and it's really kind of nice and sticky. All right, I'm gonna grab a piece of parchment paper and a ruler, and I'll show you how we're gonna make that center. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order. All right, so I've got my parchment paper and I've got just a regular ruler and a nice sharp knife. So we're just gonna dump that out onto our parchment. And we're just gonna press this down into a rectangle. And you wanna make a rectangle because they're gonna go down in the cells, and each cell is about, maybe 3.5 inches by 1 inch. So we have to make it just a little bit smaller than that. So that's where we get that measurement from, so that we can divide this up into 12 equal little sections. So you can just press it out with your hands. I wouldn't do it with a rolling pin because this stuff is so sticky, it will probably just stick to your rolling pin and it will be a mess. All right, let's see what we got here. So 4.5 by 5.5. We need to get that a little bit further in this way. And of course, if you're using something else to make these in, if you don't have the candy mold, go by whatever size you're using. And now, this is the part where you don't have to really measure it. You can measure it if you want, but I can kind of eyeball it from this part. So we're gonna go down the center lengthwise. And then we're gonna go in half. And then we're going to go 2 cuts on each side of those halves, which should be just under 1 inch wide. And that will give us 12. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to grab the molds from the freezer, and then I'll show you how we're going to melt the chocolate that's going to go over the top. So before I show you how to assemble these, give this show a like. It really does help the show get out there to more people. All right, so you can see now that the bottom of the cells are frozen, solid, and we're gonna take one, just gently, I use a knife just so that it can, use that flatness of the knife and it doesn't break. And just gently slide it into each cell. All right, and then when you get finished filling each cell, you're going to get some almonds. I've got a little container of almonds here, enough for 3 almonds for each candy bar. So 36 almonds. And then you're just going to press it down into the top of each of these, just gently. You don't want to press it too hard because then it'll flatten out that middle coconut section, and then the chocolate won't go over the edges. So just press down lightly on each cell. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna finish this up and then we're on to our chocolate. Okay, so we've got our chocolate melted, and how I did that, I put it in a little pan. I have just a little saucepan of water, and I used my heat-proof measuring cup here, and I put my chocolate chips in there and just put it in there until it melted. You stir it around a little bit while it's going. It's as simple as that. It takes about 5 minutes or so. All right, so now we're gonna pour this, or like drizzle it over your candy bars. And you kind of want to go back and forth. You don't want to just pour a bunch over it because this is an unsweetened chocolate, so it is a bit bitter. So you don't want too much chocolate on each candy bar. So you just get it drizzling like that, and then you just kind of go back and forth. Just take your time. It's kind of a meditative little practice here. All right, I'm gonna finish these up, and then we'll get them back into the freezer. All right, guys, they are out of the freezer. I probably had them in there for about 15 minutes. And after this, so you're just gonna pop them out of their little cell. Oh, how cute. And then I would put them in a airtight container and keep them in your fridge, because this chocolate, as soon as you touch them, they're gonna start melting. So, all right guys, I'm gonna meet you at the table for a taste. All right, here we go. I cut one in half so you can see what it looks like in the center. Nailed it. That is perfect. Sometimes you feel like a nut. You're gonna love it. Come on back next week for another great recipe.